she's going through in leadership. And with that, she would also like to struggle less with leadership, and she's looking forward to hear some insightful tips that she can use later on. So I'm wondering, what are you looking forward to? I can see we are several people here. You can engage by unmuting your mic. You can just raise your arm, you unmute your mic. Yes, we can also chat it out pale kwa chat box, so that yes, hapo we can also engage with the idea. And I love the way that you guys are active and contributing to this discussion. And I'm looking forward to your continued engagement. Jacinta says, for me, it's bravado, audacity. Yani, the way we move is crazy, but in a good way. You see, something is not working, the vibes are off, it's not giving. Yeah, we are not familiaring that. And that's powerful. If channeled properly, it's disruptive, innovative, fresh, and that's how then we develop solutions that even future generations can borrow. Wow. Yes. Guys, we have been all over the internet. People have been saying, oh, Gen Z is this, Gen Z is that in workplace, or if the vibes are off, they are leaving, whatnot. And I like the fact that we are taking pride in that if the vibes are off, guys, we are not doing these. Yeah, let's just move on for better. And in that, we get to channel and if that is channeled properly, then we get to become innovative, fresh, and we come up with ideas that are solving problems that are solutions and future generations can borrow. I like that, Jacinta. Let's keep engaging. I can see, yeah. So that was juicy, Jacinta. Let's hear from all of us. Yeah. Joyful Jose, Kind Kamau. Yes, as we continue with this session, feel free to share any contribution you have. This is an open forum, and we look forward to that. In the meantime, allow me to welcome Kamau to tell us more about what is the Lead Like Z campaign. What are we here to talk about really? Like, what is our hosts? What are they about? What is their vision, mission, or what are they doing in society? And why did they find it fit to organize for this webinar? Kamau.
Thank you very much, Kasi. Karibuni sana to the webinar, and apologies, I cannot put my video on at the moment, but before the webinar ends, mtaniona. Wow, Lead Like Z, I tend to think that people think the idea came up after the Gen Z demonstrations in 2024, but this idea had been conceived way before. It's just that the demonstrations and the talk about Gen Zs catalyzed what we had started thinking about. And we officially began the Lead Like Z campaign in 2025. That is last year. That's when we did our pilot phase. And yeah, we were motivated by the stereotypes we've heard about Gen Zs on social media. We've heard about Gen Zs from politicians. We've been told about Gen Zs at our workplaces. And even at times, our parents say things that are not true about Gen Zs. The stereotype exists, but we are here to challenge the stereotype. We are here to challenge the stereotype. And how we can do this is by showing, Gen Zs wanaongoza, here are examples, here are their stories. And that's why our Lead Like Z campaign is structured into under 4 pillars, which is identify the Gen Zs who are leading all across Kenya. Ni wengi sana. And then after we identify them, we want to showcase their inspiring stories. What are they doing? Let's shout about their impact. Tuwashangilie, and we celebrate them online through showcases. And then after that, we want to connect young leaders with other young leaders for more impact. And then after that, what we want to do is to challenge people. Number one, challenge more young people to take up leadership positions. Do not be afraid. Kuna examples. These are Gen Zs kama nyinyi. So take up leadership responsibilities. Usiogope, usiambiwe ni kiongozi wa kesho. The other thing is lead, and lead with purpose, lead with integrity, and lead with impact. Last year we did the pilot phase. we were able to identify 70 Gen Z leaders. We were able to showcase 8 of them online. We were able to do a conference whereby 51 people attended, and the panel and the speakers were all Gen Z leaders, founders of organizations, student leaders. And this year we continue with the same because Gen Z ni wengi sana huku nje. Let us celebrate them, and our tagline is celebrating youth leadership in Kenya. Tuwafanye waonekane huko nje. Lead Like Z is a program of the Taifa Teule Network. Taifa Teule Network is a registered non-governmental, non-profit organization, and the foundation of the network is our primary program, which is Taifa Teule Leadership Experience, TLX. I'm sure most of you are aware about TLX, whereby we train leaders for 10 weeks leadership, and then at the end of it, they do a community project. So even as we journey along at Lead Like Z to celebrate young leaders, we can also get to experience the Taifa Teule leadership experience, where we can be molded into better leaders. But injili inasonga, lazima to celebrate the young leaders because ni sisi na ni hao wengine ambao tutakuwa na wao through the journey. It's a continuous campaign throughout the year, but the climax of it will be a conference on August 28th. We will give more details about that. Thank you, Cassie. And in case you have questions about Lead Like Z as we continue, you can drop them on the chat box. Back to you, Njuguna.
Thank you, Kamau, for that and sharing what the whole campaign is all about, and send our gratitude to the whole team for organizing for this, so that younger people, our fellow youths, we can get to learn and to see that other people are doing great things and they are our fellow youths, and therefore we can end the stereotype that youths can only lead in the future and not currently, and I like that. So guys, before we proceed, I would like to keep reminding you that you can share anything you feel that maybe you have gone through as a leader, any stereotyping that has happened to you just because you're Gen Z. You can drop it pale kwa chat box, we will engage with it. And yes, without further ado, I would like to welcome our panel. We are going to have a panel discussion, and we have set aside a few questions for them, but we'll also take questions from the participants. So if you maybe happen to have a question, you can also drop it pale kwa chat box based on what someone has said, and we will follow up with them so that we can also engage with that. Our panel for tonight is an amazing panel, a panel of people who are doing great things, youths who are leading like, yes, the youths can lead. Our first panelist for the night is none other than Zephania Mbatia. Mbatia is the youth chairperson at YMCA Central Branch. He's the branch honorary treasurer as well as a volunteer. He's an economics graduate from Kenyatta University, and he's also a former campus director for Millennial Campus Networks, UNAI. Currently, he's volunteering as a community performance lead for Global Admissions Committee at the Millennium Campus Networks, and his life philosophy is to leave the spaces he finds himself better than before. Ladies and gents, that will be our first panelist, Zephania Mbatia. Our second panelist is none other than Miriam Obote. Miriam is a dynamic professional whose career spans entrepreneurship, human resource management, and academic excellence. She's the founder and operator of a successful catering business. She has demonstrated strong business acumen, creativity, and a commitment to delivering exceptional service. Her role as a human resource manager reflects her ability to lead teams, foster organizational growth, and cultivate positive workplace cultures through effective people management strategies. Currently, she is pursuing a master's degree in counseling psychology at International Leadership University. Miriam is deepening her expertise in human behavior, emotional well-being, and leadership development. This academic journey complements her professional roles, equipping her with the skills to support individuals and organizations in achieving both personal and collective success. Her unique blend of entrepreneurial drive, managerial experience, and psychological insights positions her as a versatile leader dedicated to empowering people and building sustainable businesses and contributing meaningfully to society. Ladies and gents, I introduce you to Miriam Obote, our second panelist. Ladies and gents, our third panelist for tonight is none other than Musita A.G. Godric. Unfortunately, I cannot see him among the participants. I'll follow up, but Musita A.G. Godric is the current Egerton University Motion Movers Secretary General. He's an active student in matters campus politics. He's also a champion of the Sustainable Development Goals under Africa for SDGs. He's an award-winning debater, public speaker, and a judge with several debate organizations across the country. His impact stretches beyond, and as he impacts the next leaders who are high school students to become better debaters, public speakers, and to speak their mind. Ladies and gents, that is our panel for tonight. What an amazing panel. I don't think we can get any better panel than that. So, ladies and gents, let me welcome our panelists for tonight. Yes, and you can help me welcome them pale kwa chat by, yes, you can, yeah. Yes, so ladies and gents, our panel for tonight, Miriam and Zeph, as we are waiting to get Musita, who will be joining us in a few. Yes, you can use reactions to welcome our panelists so that, yes, they can also feel that they are welcomed to this session. Our panelists, can you kindly, in 1 minute, tell us who you are and you describe your leadership journey? Kindly, we will start with Miriam. Miriam, kindly tell us who you are and describe your leadership journey. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I don't think a camera. It's dark where I'm sitting. Kindly let me not put my camera on. Yeah, you can hear me well?
Yes, Miriam.
Yeah, so my name is Miriam. Miriam Obote is my name. And as you read my profile, I'm a human resource manager. I'm running a catering business. And I'm a student at International Leadership University. It's a great thing to be amongst you. I'm not a Gen Z. But when you are doing the introduction, Isaac and Kamau, it makes me go back to the days when I was a Gen Z, that is around 30 years ago. And I look back at what I was thinking about when I was in that age. And one thing I like about you people is that you're so informed, unlike us. Because I say information is power, and you're more informed, and you have something that you want in comparison to something you have seen that you don't like. You want to speak out, and your space cannot be denied. Reason being, every day people exit, and every day there's a need of entry, and it's more exciting to see that a generation is coming with force. Because they see an opportunity of exit of somebody. So I can wish you all the best. Honestly, it is a good thing to have a desire to bring change. And there is a willpower that cannot be denied. And the carrier of the willpower will have to remain passionate, because the time is coming, and the time is almost near when you will be in that space. So I like what Kamau you're doing because it is preparing people for a great thing. It is said that when you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And because the space is there, the exit for somebody is there, the entry for another is coming, which we cannot deny. I think the rule of nature, or maybe the principles of life, they are parallel. There are things we cannot deny. And it's an exciting moment. Let me leave it at that so that somebody else can give us a music. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Miriam, for that. Yes, guys, let's keep giving reactions to our panelists to keep them motivated. Yes. Now, ladies and gents, Zeph, tell us who you are and kindly describe your leadership journey in a minute. What can you tell us about yourself and your leadership journey? Karibu sana.
Thank you so much, Kaasi and Miriam, and the whole team that has joined us tonight. I'm tempted to say Gen Z power. My name is Zephania Mbatia from Kenya YMCA. I am a volunteer and a youth leader, the same organization. My leadership journey goes way back to high school. That's a few years ago. So I would say I've had to deal with different generations, the millennium and baby boomers, and now the Gen Z and the Gen X in terms of leadership. And all these generations, I would say the leadership is quite different with every generation. So I would say I have had a bit of experience interacting with the different generations, and I would say it's always calling for different approach to different generations. So that is me, that is Zephania, and I really look forward to having this conversation with you. I really look forward to hearing what the stereotypes you've had and demystifying them together and learning how to, someone said they want to learn how to, they want to get tips on how to survive through these. I want to assure you, you're not going through this alone. A lot of people here are going through the same things that you're going through. And we're here to demystify, at least create pathways on how we can be able to, either speak back about it and show the generation that we are not just Gen Zs, we are capable Gen Zs, and we are ready to strive to see things happening and to move our lives forward. So I'm happy to be here and looking forward to this conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Zeph, for that. And Zeph, I think I'll start with you in this one. So I'm wondering, what assumptions did people make when you got into the business? Okay, into whatever you are in. What are the assumptions that people made about your leadership simply because you belong to the Generation Z? Yeah, like what are the assumptions that people made the first time maybe they interacted with your leadership or even with you as a leader?
Thank you so much, Cassie. It's quite interesting. A few years ago, when I joined the organization, YMC organization, I met this guy, and he's from the millennials, and we were trying to implement something, and I was coming up with this idea and telling him. By that time, he was the supreme leader, so he was the one supposed to forward this information. ILIG were acted on, so I tried to come up with this idea and inform them. And something they told me was like, "Yo, we've been here um, long enough to know that this might not work." Really. And the first idea that came to my mind was these guys want me to shut up and go back to where I came from. So the first thing I did was I went back and kept quiet and started thinking, how can I really make this happen? And I told myself that this is what is supposed to happen because it's right and it's what is driving the organization forward. So what we're going to do is I'm going to push it again and again and again and again. So at some point, these guys looked at me and so thought I was so pushy. And it wasn't because I was pushy, it's because I wanted things to change from the millennial way of doing things to now our generational way. Not by fighting the millennials, but trying to find a synergy between how millennials did things and how now we, the Gen Zs, want things done, and trying to change with the changing times. And eventually, this came to happen. I'm so happy it did, and we still sit at the same table, and he looks at me and he tells me, "I love the way you're thinking." So eventually, they'll come to accept us. So thank you.
Thank you, Zeph, for sharing that. And that's a very impactful story. And I can bear in mind that the person who said they are going through something in leadership, then they are not the only ones. No, Miriam, to you, let's be honest for a minute. Yeah? Before working with Gen Zs, what assumptions did you have about them? Before working with them, what assumptions did you have about them? Ah,
Yeah. Okay. Maybe out of my desire to learn resource, this is more genuine. And I have children. I have them. We have two. I think I have two in my house. So I've always I've had this desire to understand what is it that they're telling me. So from deep within me, I feel something wants to be said. And let me tell you, Isaac, that people fear challenge. So from deep without me, because this now I'm answering from a personal feeling. People fear challenge. So when you're raising somebody, and this somebody has a voice, and you want to question the voice. For my personal feel, I always used to listen to my inner voice. What are they saying? And sometimes I sit back and see a challenge. So that was before working with them. I think I've answered.
yes. Thank you for that, Miriam. You have truly given an honest answer. And I'm curious, in the workplace, what is the one thing that you'd argue Gen Zs are doing consistently better than the previous generations? Like, what is it that has changed that the Gen Zs are doing way better than it used to happen in the previous generations? Can you highlight, like, maybe one thing that you have noted has changed, that not just changed, that the one thing that Gen Zs are doing way better than it has been previously done?
Okay, there is a drive, and one thing that is very clear, even when it comes to public and maybe working places, they don't raise a lot of voice. Comparing with another generation, which may like to argue, they will not raise a lot of voice, even when they are corrected. They are quiet. And for somebody who wants to study them, you'd wonder what is it these people are keeping in secret. That's what I'm saying. They have a drive, but they're not shouting. They're not arguing. They are they behave like And I'm sorry to describe it like this. I'm not against, I'm not negative. But you see something is cooking in their mind. You see people who reason and they don't want to argue. They have an inner reasoning. They have a drive, which it will require somebody who has a lot of interest to want to understand what it is that they want to communicate. So I think for somebody to understand them, to understand this generation, they need number one to have the personal interest and to be so intentional. Because surely they are reasoning. Surely there is an inner drive. But how will we capture it unless we relate? I've answered.
Yes. Thank you, Miriam.
Was I clear? Sorry, Isaac.
Yes, you are clear, Miriam. But maybe
Yeah.
if you can, for the next question, if you're able to get maybe a place where you are, maybe I don't know whether the members are getting you quite audibly. I had seen some concerns about that. Maybe you can try and be more audible. Yes, you can try and see how you can work on that kindly so that, but personally, I'm getting you well but I think it was just during the first question where you are a bit not that audible, but since then you are audible enough, and thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I will try to be audible.
No, yeah, thank you. Zeph, I'm back to you. Now, I'm curious and I'm really intrigued to learn what surprised you about leadership after joining the workplace. So, like, what surprised you? Maybe it's in your first year or your second year. What did you find that was surprising? And what are the expectations that you had and they changed after you joined the workplace? Kindly, Zeph.
Thank you so much for that question. I tend to say sometimes leadership is hard, but leadership is not hard by itself. It's kind of made hard by situations, the people you meet, a lot of things around leadership. One of the expectations that I had when I joined leadership, even at my workplace today, are the mean. I didn't expect the system to have a flow by itself, but shock to me, the system itself surprised me. You see, there is this system that people believe that things should be working this way. And if you try to bring a different way of things working, then probably the system itself will throw you out, or the people operating the system, who we call the system, will shut you down. So I actually expected that from the system. And so when I joined leadership, I was trying to look at what has been happening before, asking myself, how can we make it better? And, trying to implement slowly. But then I came to learn one thing about how this works in terms of leadership. Once you start saying things, challenging things, the people you start challenging will also have a way of pushing back. They'll have a way of telling you, we've been here maybe longer than you've lived. And so we don't think whatever you're telling us is kind of changing anything. So how I learned to deal with these challenges is to manage my expectations and knowing how to navigate through the expectations. And one of the things that I came to learn is we don't push the buttons from our own ends. No, we come to the table, we sit down, and we talk about it the way it is. the system has been showing us to do things this way. And that is what we've been used to. So the millennial who you found there will tell you this is how things have been running, and we just do things because the system says we do them. But now, me coming in as a Gen Z, I would like to question the system and ask, why are we doing these things this way? And there is a way that is easier and could bring the same or better results within a shorter period of time. So it was about sitting down with the system itself and the people, who have been formulating the system, and trying to show them the two sides of the coin, telling them we've been doing things from here to here to here to here. It's a process that I don't object, but if we did things from CBA, then we would get the results that we were getting. But now this one would shorten the time, and it would leave everyone satisfied. So managing the expectations is how I navigated through this leadership. And to a point, these people now started, reasoning with me and telling me sometimes as if the direction you're taking is okay, we understand, but what about we do it from this other point? So it was about striking a balance between what I'm coming in with and what they already have, and seeing how better we can work together in a collaborative manner. I think I have
Yes, thank you. And yeah, ladies and gents, and these answers coming from our panelists, I'm sure it's something that most of us have been through. And yeah, you can also be sharing what you have been through pale kwa chat box, so that we will also engage with the conversation as a general, because I'm very sure that all of us in the workplace, or maybe interaction with some people from the other generation, the older generations, they might be arguing, oh, Gen Z's this, they just want to have it their own way. But our panelists are confirming that maybe it's just that we don't have, we are people who are willing to try new methods, so that we can find the solution in a bit easier manner, and we still get the job done. So yes, thank you to our panelists for that. As we proceed now, Miriam, which are the qualities that you would argue would make a young employee stand out as a leader? This is even if they don't have titles in the workplace, but there are some of those qualities you would argue someone who is a young employee, there's something they are doing that you would argue they give them that quality. There's that quality that makes them stand out, and they look like a leader. What are some of those qualities?
Thank you. Thank you so much for this question. Can you hear me now, right? Am I clear?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
Miriam.
So I think one thing that and I like what Zeph was emphasizing about the challenges and the systems that seem to push somebody out, or yeah, about the systems. But I think I may give two comparisons here, which are very clear in our country, which we cannot deny. That we have two systems, which one may be the system of the government, and the other one may be the system of the private employer. The system of the government may remain a challenge because it's not within much control. The system of the employer, it gets corrupted. The private employer, it can seem to push a young person out if the employer is not present within their work. We have two types of these private employers, and maybe I can just speak a bit about it, so that if you're feeling like a system is pushing you out, you may look at where your private employer stays. Is it somebody who sits in the business, or is it somebody who is doing business but not in the business. I like to describe them this way from my sitting point as a human resource manager, where you can get a private employer who is an employee of the company. In such setting, I find it more an advantage to the young people because directors, owners of companies who sit in their companies are at an advantage to pick qualities of people who can be grown. And young people working under such directors, they stand at a very great advantage because a director, a owner of a company who is looking at the output of each and every person will be, if they like what they are doing, they give young people more opportunity because they see growth and they're also able to judge. But when we have private companies which are left under employees to manage, the owners are not within. Such companies, systems work for the directors, and systems can be sometimes disadvantaged if they are controlled not to meet the purpose. But now back to my question, qualities that would make a young employee stand out. A young employee to stand out and even to grow in the company. It is simple. There are policies that company sets. Companies are looking for achievers. And honestly, let me tell you, I started by saying there's a point of exit. Even if somebody wants to stay in a position for how long, there is a time that comes for exit. If it is not by force, it is by nature. And it is only an ignorant person who will not appreciate the day of exiting. And if we cannot appreciate you, the young people, and want to grow you, then we are only being ignorant to the truth. Then we will just be found unaware. But the quality that I would want to speak, that would stand out and that would lead to growth, is the quality of complying, where somebody complies with what is set. Because you come into a company and you have your roles, your job description. If you meet deadlines, if you're a go-getter, if you're suggesting ideas that are flowing with the company expectations and to meet the company goals. If you're somebody that sees a mistake, like the way you are, you seem to have a desire that something is not right, and we need to correct this thing. The same strength and force, if it works in companies where you are appreciated and where somebody knows that this is somebody to help me grow my company, it is a quality that will not be silenced. And it is a quality that will be appreciated for growth. So if the young people just understand what is it that is required for me, complying, companies work differently. I know from here where we are sitting, we are from very many different companies. And in your company, the goals are different. But if you monitor closely your environment and you arrive to be a light in, let me use this word like a light, to be a light in that environment, no one will not see your light. And you are at an advantage because you have strength, your minds are fresh, and you have the willpower. I think that is very clear with you people. So you already have the quality, but it is just if you stick to your path of compliance in the area where you are, and you will get it. Thank you.
Thank you, Miriam, for that. And wow, compliance, go-getter, meet deadlines, some of the qualities that Miriam argues they would help a young employee stand out as a leader. And I would like to hear from Zeph on whether some of these qualities have helped him to earn some trust from his coworkers at work. And Zeph, among those qualities mentioned, compliance, being a go-getter, meeting deadlines, is there any quality that has helped you as a young leader to earn trust at work from your colleagues?
Thank you, Kasi, for that. I actually, yes, they have allowed me to gain trust from my colleagues. I might pride myself as the newest award winner for the culture champion in my organization. So yes, they have, and one of the things that I can actually add in those that Miriam has said is about the conversation about Gen Z is not being consistent. Leo tumeamka tumesema we are going this direction, and then tomorrow how we have another direction that we've chosen, and then the next day like that. So in terms of consistency, my colleagues had to believe that if Zephaniah chooses a certain direction, then we can be able to trust him enough to deliver in that direction. So consistency as a young person gives you the leverage that your colleagues can trust you with a specific task and know that this young person is going to deliver and deliver results the way we expect them to be delivered. So yes, as a young person, this stands out, and if we are able to follow stereotyping us, can see something positive in us and be able to, come and meet.
Hello, Zeph. Zeph?
Yes, sorry, Asi, can you hear me?
Yes, but there's a lot of background noise. I'm not sure whether you're in a position that you're able to maybe move away from it or maybe have it muted.
I'm not in a position to move away from it. Um, I'm in the Matatu heading home.
It's okay.
Can I type if that's okay?
Okay. But we can still get you with that. But yeah, we'll do our best to hear you so that because maybe typing might there's that human interaction that comes with people hearing your voice and getting to interact with you one-on-one. So we can still see how we can continue with the voice conversation.
Perfect. I hope did you hear me at any point?
Yes, we had all your response. Yes. Um, uh, Zeph is working on that. I would like to take a quick jump and um, ask Miriam a question that has been kind of bothering me, and because I would like to hear from her, what is the one thing she would argue that she would really appreciate if employees, okay, what is the one thing that employers would wish that young professionals understood before they entered the workplace? Like, what is some of the few things, like maybe two, because I can see time is not on our side. So maybe in a minute and a half, what do employers wish that young professionals understood before they joined or entered the workplace? Miriam?
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, one thing that maybe the young generation uh, I would wish they understand is that average is an enemy. This, if you desire to be average, you're just becoming an enemy to yourself. And when you expect a measure for appreciation, maybe you are denying yourself the truth of growth. If I can, let me just give an example. I've worked, I've been the employment employee for the last 29 years. I left my university in 1998. And in 1998, so I'll take a short time. In 1998, Kenya, there was an announcement that there is no employment anywhere. So we come out and we look for what we are going to do. But I positioned my mind that I've been in school not to hear that announcement. So, and because I wanted to experience what it means to be employed. My first employment was a cleaner. And I was cleaning for this company where I could always arise to clean, and after I clean, I buy a newspaper or I borrow a newspaper from the manager to read. And slowly by slowly, I put back my papers because I had a desire to understand what it means to be employed. So and slowly by slowly, in one of those newspapers, I saw an advert that was looking for a management position in the company where I was a cleaner, and I applied for the job, and I became a manager. It was not a good thing that they realized they had employed somebody who was a graduate, but when I remember one thing I remember from the interviewing point when I was being interviewed to become a manager is that the MD of the company said, "Miriam, you've been cleaning so hard. Did you have these papers when you were cleaning?" Then I come here to say, average is an enemy, even when you're cleaning. When you desire to become an average, I did not know you thought I was cleaning hard, but it's an enemy. In whatever position you are, don't want to be an average person. And if you expect a measure for appreciation, then you may be denying yourself emotionally, psychologically, mentally. You will deny yourself an opportunity for growth. The moment you start expecting those good words, keep it up, go, you do this, let your actions speak for yourself. And even young leaders, whenever companies lose you, they realize they have lost. So I don't be defined by what people think. Arise, don't measure yourself with average. Don't expect a spoken measure. Let it be the measure by the standards of the policy, because companies have policies of measure. But not the thing of this one is a good person. Let your actions speak. Like I was saying, that when you look at the young of you in every institution and in environments, there is a drive in you. And unless somebody gets intentional to understand you, they may not understand. You may not force them to understand you. But a time comes that people will know these people were meant to be leaders. So let the drive not die.
Uh, Thank you very much, Miriam, for that insightful response. And I'm sure the young people in this forum have heard that from the employer's mouth, and they're able to see that really we stand out as Gen Zs. Now, I would like to, uh, and I'm curious because of the insight that you have given, Miriam, and I would like to ask if you could get a chance to mentor every young Kenyan for like a month, what would you focus on first? Like if you got to mentor young people, young Kenyans who are willing maybe to join the employment industry for a month, what would you focus on first? What is the one thing you'd coach them on?
Uh, Thank you. Thank you so much. So I think this question may be addressing the ones that are employed or the ones that are still seeking to be employed. But
Uh,
yeah,
yes. You can give a response to both sides in a minute and a half, kindly.
yeah. So yeah, we have we have two types of young people in the society. There are those that are seeking employment, and there are those that are already sitting in employment. If I were to advise all of them, I've been in managerial role maybe for the last 16 years. But there's a purpose in everyone's. There's no one that is useless. Everyone has a purpose. So in the job that you're given to them that are working, desire to understand that which you can do better because you will grow in it. But also to them that are still seeking employment, don't give up because there's still that which you carry that still has not yet been tapped. So as you desire maybe to start something small, you should not kill yourself internally because you think you are not valuable. There's value in every person. In every employment sector, everyone who walks in, there's a value. And sometimes it is until your value is understood or your value is expressed that it brings results. So I want to encourage everyone that is listening that there is a value that you carry. Let no voice tell you you don't have a value. There is a value that you carry. And in every sector you find yourself, I grew from a cleaner. I was a cleaner. I did not show my papers, but I believed I carried something. And in that company, I did not only start as a junior manager, I grew to a very senior level of management until I moved to do a human resource management. So everyone has a value. It just needs to be cultivated. Cultivate on your value so that you can achieve your purpose wherever you go. Even in small things, cultivate on your value.
Wow. Thank you, Miriam, for that. And I'm sure the Gen Zs in this call, we have heard that we really need to put in the work, and we have really learned from you as an employer, and we are thankful for that. Now, I move back to Zeph. Zeph, what is the one thing you think or you would argue employers need to better understand about Gen Zs? Like in general, what is the one thing you'd argue employers need to understand better about Gen Zs?
Thank you so much. I hope the noise is not too much. Yeah, so one thing that I really, or rather, not really one thing, but a few things that I really think that employers need to understand about Gen Z is understand where you're coming from. Understanding that Gen Z is this generation that was born when things were rapidly changing, and the agility that we have as the generation that we are. understanding us would come from a level where they understand that we're not coming in as rude people. We're coming in with a level of digital fluency that we have, the amount of things that we've been able to interact with, and not to come out as watu wenye wako na viherehere, but to come out as people who have a lot in mind and who can share a lot with the organizations. So one more thing that I would like the employer to understand about the young people is to understand how to communicate. This goes both ways. We understand how to communicate with the employer, and also the employer understands how to listen to us, listen to the ideas that we're giving, listen to the ideas that we're coming up with at the table, and be able to navigate with us, um, mentor us into making these ideas into reality and seeing how these ideas can help the organization, not just shutting us down and telling us this is how things have been happening, and if you're not ready to take the things the way they are, then you just go and leave. That is what we as young people will do. If the organization is not suiting me, if the organization is not giving me room to grow, if the organization is not giving me a challenge that I really want, and the challenge that we want is a challenge that will keep challenging us to grow, if the organization is not doing that, then I, as a young person, will find an organization that is doing that. So, as an employer, I would really, really want the employer to sit down with us as Gen Z and really understand what we want, not what has been happening, but what we want. Ask yourself as an employer, the system that you created, is the system having enough room to accommodate us as young people with the thoughts, with the ideas, with the agility that we have? And if the system does not allow that, then we will continue to have these rifts between the system and the Gen Z. But if that is breached, then we'll have no issue. Thank you.
Thank you, Zeph, for that. And as a Gen Z, I think you are speaking on behalf of all of us when you argue that that is what you'd love employers to know about us. Now, we have heard from the employers, we have heard from the young professionals who are Gen Zs, and it has been agreed across board that stereotyping is there about Gen Zs. There's a mismatch of understanding between what the Gen Zs are all about and what the leaders are looking for, or what the employers are looking for. And therefore, I tend to wonder, and I'm going to give the two panelists a minute each to respond to this question. And the question is quite simple. What responsibility does the Gen Zs have in changing the narrative itself? The narrative is, oh, Gen Zs are that, Gen Zs are this, Gen Zs don't do this. What is the responsibility of Gen Zs in changing this narrative by itself? I'm going to give Zeph to go first, then Miriam. And in that, you can also give us a parting shot, yes, as this will be our last question for the night.
Thank you so much, Kaasi. The question, what role do we have as Gen Zs in demystifying this stereotype? Making the generation understand that we are not who they think we are. Well, to start with, we as Gen Zs need to find a midpoint. We need to understand where the millennials are coming from, for us to understand why they are calling us whatever they are calling us, why they are labeling us the way they are labeling us. We need to understand the timeline that we've been in. We are the people who came in during the era of the internet, the gadget era. The millennials never found that. They used to run with systems. The system that was created by so and so is the system that you're going to follow. And if anything comes along the way, it's either unless they say, then we are not going to change. So we need to first understand that. We need to first understand how now we can argue with them in a way that they don't feel like we are objecting what they're saying. They don't feel like we are competing with them, but rather we are trying to complement them. They're coming in with wisdom. We are coming in with, the tech era knowledge. We are coming in with the digital fluency. So we need to strike a balance between their wisdom, their expertise, and now whatever we are coming in with as complementary and not as a competition. So we need to offer the values that we are going to offer, not as competitive values, but as values that will complement whatever they have. So we as Gen Zs need to understand them as we show them who we really are. We need to be consistent. We need to be resilient enough. If a millennial says we are not going to do this because of A, B, and C, you don't go there with your forehead, beating your chest and saying we have to do it because of B, A, B, and C. No. Resilience means that they said no for the first time. The second time they're coming in, but in a subtle way, showing them that if we do this, then the results will be A, B, C, and D, so that they understand where we are coming from, and that way we'll seamlessly be able to work together. Because millennials are not going anywhere. No, we want to work with them, and we will have to work with them. But if we don't find a way to strike a balance between them and us, then we'll always have to, keep fighting, keep pushing back and forth. And that is not what we want. That is not how we are going to build the nation. Thank you.
Thank you, Zeph, for that amazing submission or response. And Miriam, as an employer, what is the responsibility that Gen Zs have in changing the narrative that currently exists, which we have argued is more of stereotyping without even being given a chance? So, as Gen Zs, what would you tell us is our responsibility in changing this narrative?
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. This one it requires putting myself in their shoes. One thing that I would still look at is that you are skilled. You already have the skills. So you're already empowered from the knowledge and experience and the professionalism that you have. So you're equipped. You're equipped to be able to compete with even these millennials. So that one is an advantage for you. And take advantage of your skills, take advantage of your knowledge, take advantage of the information that you have. The hardest thing about determining value is because the valuer is not you. So the millennials, maybe they may not value you as much. The older generations may not value you as much. But with the skills that you carry, you can position yourself in a manner not to disrespect them. Because I told you earlier that challenge is always feared. And anytime you want to show a challenging thing, like Zeph was saying, that systems are pushing you out. The truth which you cannot deny is that even they have a feel that you're pushing them out. So here there's a tug of war. There's a pull. There's a push. There's force from both sides. As much as somebody feels the system wants to push me out, the other person is also feeling that there is pressure to push me out. And I would only encourage, take advantage, because companies, organizations are also positioning themselves because they are looking for performance. No one is out there to make losses. Everyone is looking at every end month. What is their the profit and loss statement. And everyone is looking for solutions to change what appears on paper, what appears at the end of the month to make it better. So take advantage of your skills. Take advantage of your knowledge. Take advantage of the experience that you have. As much as you stay in companies which are also thriving to grow, it is only an employer who maybe has nothing good about themselves would prefer propaganda than performance. So there is always comparison on the table. And I look at a time when people are getting more serious than they were before. Systems of government are also aligning employers. It is no longer those days when people was on hearsay. The government is also putting systems that are pushing us to manage our systems better. Because if you don't comply also with the government regulations, you find yourself pushing yourself out. And one way of a company closing themselves down is encouraging people who are just saying and who are just talkers and they're not performing. So I tell you, you are advantaged. Don't feel like when somebody thinks you're challenging them, that they can push you out. We are going to a level where if anyone is not key about what happens that matters, they will also push themselves out with the systems. So take advantage, position yourself, be flexible where there need to be flexibility, look forward to performance. And I will end at this point. If I would want to quote the Bible. There's in the book of Joshua, it says, a time came and the Lord told Joshua that my servant Moses is dead. Death may not be natural death, but death may be incapacitated to perform that which you used to perform with a lot of strength. And he said, Joshua, arise. And I'm saying this because I'm serving under a leader who calls the Gen Z's Joshua generations. The generation that was called to arise and lead the people to their promises. So I can only tell you, take advantage of this time, arise. If you're that generation, who will deny you your position? So thank you very much.
Thank you, Miriam, for that amazing takeaway. Miriam ends the note by telling us take advantage, while Zeph, our amazing panelist, also tells us of understand where both generations are coming from, and that way we'll be able to coexist well. Thank you to both our panelists. Thank you, Miriam, and thank you, Zeph. Let me first congratulate Zeph for Zeph notified us that I'm a win award in his workplace. Congratulations for that. Congratulations, Miriam, for employing young people, and thank you for that, and keep employing more young people into the workspace so that they can also learn from you, from your experience, because you have been an amazing employer and you have been in that industry for a long time. Thank you to both our panelists for the amazing contributions, and I would like to open a floor for two remarks, maybe key takeaways from our participants, and then after that I will hand it back to Kamau, who is going to assist us in closing this meeting. Therefore, ladies and gents, anyone who has a key takeaway from our panelists, that is from our amazing panelists Miriam and Zeph, any key takeaways, you can either type it pale kwa chat box. And yes, and in the meantime, guys, let's give reactions to appreciate them. I would appreciate it if we use these. Let me show you a reaction that, yes, can you see that? Kindly, if you're able to, let's give those reactions. Yes, so guys, what do you think is our responsibility as Gen Zs in ending this? As you have heard from our panelists, what is your key takeaway? Yes. Anyone? Thank you guys. I can see you're congratulating our panelists pale kwa group. I can kwa chat box. I can read some of the things shared. That is really inspiring. Miriam, that is from Nyambura Kawara. I can see Kamau saying that is very inspiring. Everyone has a purpose. I can see Nyambura Kawara saying thank you Zeph and thank you Miriam. And I can see Kamau saying asante sana Miriam and thank you Zeph. And I can see that all of us are responding by giving them reactions, and I love that. Thank you for being an amazing audience. Thank you. Wow, I can see the yes, because Miriam and Zeph have done a wonderful job, and I'm happy for that. Now, if at this juncture, I would like to welcome Jacinta, Wakili Jacinta, who will assist us in closing this meeting and lead us in the way forward after that. Jacinta, Wakili, cancel. Karibu sana.
Hi guys.
Hello.
Cassie, please let me know. Oh, you can hear me. Perfect. Hi everyone. Thank you for sticking with the meeting. To the almost end. We are not yet done, but allow me to say a huge thank you to our panelists today, both Zeph and Miriam, for the insightful discussion that we have had this evening. Honestly, for me, I think my biggest takeaway has been something that Miriam mentioned, that even as an employee, as a young employee, as a young leader, when you leave the organization, like the organization feels it, like your absence is felt. And sometimes I feel like when you're young and you're still figuring things out, it's very easy to, what can I say? It's very easy to internalize things and be like, they don't even value me. Oh, so they come. Let's say like Zeph's example. If it wouldn't have worked out with his employer, who wasn't open to like his ideas, his youthful thinking, his contradictions, you can live feeling very disgruntled and thinking, what's the point anyway? The next place I go, I'll just do what they say. Or even in a place that you decide to stay in, if you decide to be like, okay, they don't like my ideas, sawa, let's do it their own way. It's very important for us to be affirmed that when you exit, the workplace remembers, like your energy is remembered, your energy is missed, your contribution is missed. And I feel like that is the biggest motivation for us as young Gen Z leaders, is that keep doing what you're doing. You just keep doing what you're doing, so long as it's a positive action, so long as it's yielding positive results. Just keep what you're doing. They may not understand it now, but they will. And I'm so happy that we have had an opportunity to have this conversation. And I also want to take the opportunity to thank everyone. I know today is a Thursday evening, it's a weeknight. Maybe you have work tomorrow, you have school tomorrow, you have other engagements, business projects and whatever, but we really want to take this opportunity to thank everyone for taking your time, for participating, for engaging, for sharing, for listening, and also to thank Cassie for moderating our webinar this evening. You've done a fantastic job. We've asked all the right questions. You've taken the discussion into all the right directions, and we appreciate you. Zeph and Miriam, thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your lights with us. Thank you for sharing your time with us. Thank you for sharing your ideas with us. We loved listening to you, Zeph, for standing your ground and being like, my ideas matter. My contribution matters. My thoughts matter. What I'm saying and what I'm contributing is important and is necessary. I think that's a very important lesson in confidence, a very important lesson in self-belief, knowing, especially when you have a good idea, knowing that it's a good idea and pursuing it, even when maybe there is bottlenecks, there is resistance. When something is good, or when something is changing the status quo, it's normal that there will be resistance, because these people have been doing this thing the way they've been doing it. So asking them to change is very different. I was actually reading something about a change that was happening in what is this newspaper called? The New York Times, when they were transitioning from print to digital, when now things started moving to digital, they used to have a meeting called the page one meeting, where they get like everyone, every editor sits around sits in a meeting, and they discuss which article is going to make page one. That had been the practice like since the 1940s. And this new CEO comes and he's saying this meeting is no longer serving us because print is no longer the priority. So it doesn't even matter which story is going to be on page one, because most people are reading their newspapers online. So how can we transition that? So he was met with a lot of resistance, because these people have been doing this from 1940, and this is 2014. And now you're telling us we can't hold this meeting, we can't discuss the front page of the printed newspaper. And he was like, it's not of use to us. Sahi, people are scrolling and looking for news online. We can't even have a front page, because by the time it's 2 p.m., that story that was the first page has done rounds on the internet for 6 hours, and people are looking for something fresh. So they started introducing like stories like every 2 hours. So if 2 hours pass, there's a new story. 2 hours pass, there's a new story. It was very hard for other people to accept the change, but he was very adamant, because he was like, if we continue on this trajectory, we're gonna end up losing business, losing clients, losing readership, and things like that. So I would just want to encourage everyone, if you have an idea that you believe is good, if the feedback is positive, it's like criticism, if it's like trying to try to see if your idea is viable, that is good. But if the feedback is like, no, they're trying to shut down the idea, I think that encourages us to, stand our ground, follow through with your idea, fight for it, convince everyone that you need to convince. Don't just accept that, oh, it's not a good idea, sawa basi. No, we have the confidence, as I said in the chat, what I love about my generation is audacity. We have the audacity to be like, the status quo is not working. What can we do? Keep being innovative, keep being a champion. We see you, we celebrate you. And I feel like Zeph and Miriam have just done a very, very, very good job to show us that it is possible. So thank you to our panelists. Thank you to our moderator. Thank you to everyone. Before I even close, I'd like to tell you that if you have enjoyed this webinar, imagine if we did another one very, very soon. We have another webinar on We have another webinar on 6th of August, and that one is called Leading Without a Title. How young people can lead wherever they are. And this one is it's just developing from the conversation we've had this evening. This evening, we have been told our ideas matter. Fight for your ideas. The employment space needs your contribution. So now the next conversation will be, how can I lead from wherever I am? Because sometimes you think the leader is the CEO, the leader is the president, the leader is the chairman or the chair lady, the leader is the youth leader at church, the leader is the class monitor, the leader is your dean at school, the leader is your boss. But sometimes leading does not even require you to be called so and so. It just requires you to do the right thing. Sometimes the leader is the cleaning lady. Sometimes the leader is the watchman. Sometimes the leader is your cook. Sometimes the leader is, I don't know, it doesn't even matter. So long as someone is able to influence change, so long as someone is able to do the right thing, then they are leaders in their own capacities. And so we are inviting you for this webinar. It's going to be 6th August. We're going to share the details with you as we go. But please, please, please put it in your calendar and make a point to attend. And even if you can, as we prepare for this webinar, you can read this book. It's called The Leader Who Had No Title by Robin Sharma. The Leader Who Had No Title by Robin Sharma. It basically talks about you don't need a fancy title. You don't need a fancy job. You don't need a fancy office to be able to influence, to be able to do the right thing, to be able to take people in the right direction. So that's the webinar we'll be doing. And then after that, we will have the Lead Like Z conference on 28th August. This will be a physical meetup of Gen Z leaders in all forms, in all types, in all characters, where we will meet now to discuss even bigger things. And the theme is Beyond the Stereotype, Leading with Purpose, Integrity, and Impact. So this is after all is said and done, after we've been called lazy, leaders of tomorrow, and inconsistent, or we don't have direction, all those stereotypes that we have discussed today, all those stereotypes that you've had in the news, oh, we're just eating KFC and drinking water, we don't have anything meaningful to contribute. We're saying no to that. And during this conference, we're going to be discussing Beyond the Stereotype, how can we lead with purpose, integrity, and impact? And this is going to be 28th August. We hope to see you there. For more details, we'll be coming out very, very soon, but we are counting on your presence. We are counting on your contribution, on your engagement, but not more than anything, we are counting on you sharing your experiences, bringing in your solutions, your innovations, and everything that you can bring to the table. Your ideas, as always, are very much welcome. Na kwa hayo machache ama mengi, once again, thank you guys for coming. And thank you for sharing your time with us. I will give the mic back to Cassie in case you have anything more to add.
Thank you, Jacinta. At this juncture, we have nothing else to say. Shukrani nyingi sana to everyone. Mkutano wetu umefika kikomo. Tunawatakia usiku mwema. Tunawatakia wiki njema, and we wish you all the best as we continue leading our workplaces, leading our families, and leading ourselves kwa maisha yetu. Baraka tele, tuonane tena on the 6th of August, and not forget follow our social media pages ndio pia tuweze kuinteract with the people we showcase hapo. Good night everyone. You can unmute and say good night, share reaction as you exit the meeting.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you. Good night.